running a 6-man roster, I do want to see when the 6-man subs in, it changes the way that you approach the game in the draft.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on a 6-man roster situation here. I'll leave that.
That's fine.
Thoughts on coaches?
They haven't picked their champ yet, guys. What could it be?
So what do you want to see from Shopify different? Because I think, in my mind, if they play standard games against FlyQuest, I'm expecting them to lose, right?
Yeah.
I think FlyQuest is kind of the better team. So I was thinking, hey, maybe we should see Shopify trying to look more for aggressive counter picks and things like that. What's your kind of thought process?
I think, at least last game, it felt like Palafox had no impact on the game. I think Victor just completely neutralized Orianna, which is probably the strongest mid laner on the patch. So they definitely need a point of pressure to play around. Like, they had a Renekton, a Victor that was winning lane, and ball lane was Yunara that was scaling. So they didn't really have any avenues to make their own plays, which in this game I want to see like some proactivity or some lanes of where you get guaranteed prio so you can at least play around something. I think last game they kind of just watched the game go by them, 0 kills in, 15 minutes? So.
Well, is that what you're talking about? Because this is obviously a clear way to engage with Annie and Lucian, trying to be able to play for not only a 2v2 bot, but I feel like Lucian is more about prio mid, when you actually move out of laning phase. A lot of the AD carries that I talk to really love how you can kind of control mid lane and use that as a way to move first to objectives.
Yeah, and Bvoy for sure known for his Lucian, right? I think their Lucian Nami is definitely one of their stronger bot lane pairings. And for Palafox, the Annie is going to give him just that go button, which he does a good job at finding those angles. So I think it fits their style of how they want to play, and they chose red, and I think they're getting the champ that they wanted.
So Gakgos is going to go Rumble. A, does that surprise you at all? And B, what would you like to see from Fudge as an answer? We've seen a lot of Galio and stuff. Do you think that would suit him?
Yeah, I think Galio would be another great go button, just get the team fight going. And doesn't really surprise me for Gakgos to pick Rumble, since I think it is the best top laner available. So I think they're just going to pick that up, no problem, and you're not going to be complaining about getting a Rumble. I don't think anyone, no coach is complaining about, I have a Rumble on my team, damn it. I don't think I've ever heard those words come out of anyone's mouth. Yeah.
It's just always interesting to me to think about, like, when you have two top laners, what is it that Gakgos is going to bring that Whipple is not? Is it just that they're kind of, experimenting with things, or is it, he's more of a specialist on this, or, because I don't think that Whipple can't play Rumble. That's kind of more where my head is at.
I'm not sure, because I think Gakgos, at least from solo queue when I play against him, he definitely is a very strong laner. So in that sense, I think they're just looking for just to get a lead out of the lane phase. Maybe there's a champion he feels more comfortable playing than Whippo does, and Rumble might be one of those champs.
And he's played one game for FlyQuest. It was a Rumble, right?
Yeah.
So, I know that Bvoy talked in an interview about how they really wanted to make sure they were setting up Gakgos for success on a champion that he was really comfortable in, and in a matchup that he was really comfortable in. This time, though, he is going to be blind picking the Rumble. So, if you were to be playing the Rumble, would there be any protection bans that you would personally be asking for?
What are you, this guy's working for C9? Asking me information.
Oh, sure. Okay, my bad.
No, I can't comment on a question like that. Trying to figure out my job
Douglas Rumble
here.
does not need protection
I don't need any bans. I don't have an ego. It's just I win every lane. So we'll see what Shopify picks here. They're not really covering ban for top. I think all the pool is you can play into. So Tryndamere ban. That
feels like a misclick or something.
It's not a misclick, because Inspired's been playing in solo queue quite a bit.
And
yeah, and I don't know if there was a bug on TR where you could see everyone's match history, and maybe they did some extra scouting and figured out what FlyQuest was playing.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Tryndamere would be pretty surprising to me. It's not something I've seen a lot of. I was gonna say I've been seeing some Rumble jungle lately, so I was wondering if they were worried about some sort of weird flex, but that would explain it if it is a potential inspired jungle. So that's pretty cool to see that is going to get at least banned out. Aurora will be coming through, so it is going to be Aurora as the answer to that Rumble. Obviously, is another really strong one. We haven't been seeing a ton of Aurora in the LTA, but in LPL and LCK, it's quite a popular top laner. So what are your thoughts on Aurora as a top laner and kind of this matchup?
I think it's definitely a lane bully into the Rumble. You're definitely going to have a good lane phase, but I'm worried about just how the scaling aspect will go, because I feel like Aurora is very base damage heavy, and there's not really a way to break through like a tank. Like, they have a Senna shield already. Taliyah's most likely going to get mercs. Rumble will also get mercs. So just a very early game focused comp, and I think Shopify need to execute and just play well.
It does really feel like Shopify are like an absolute shotgun comp, right? It's like you engage, you throw Tibbers, you throw your your full combo with Aurora, and then you've either won the team fight or you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big contrast to how they played last game, right? They actually have go buttons, so to them, it's like up to them to make the plays happen. So I think this is exactly what they wanted.
I really like Poppy. It's something that is pretty beefy and tanky, but also it can be difficult for Zhao, for Lucian, even for Aurora to use that hop defensively. There are things that you can actually answer. Also helps to disengage that initial hard engage that would be coming through when they're trying to full send it and get a kill. I feel like Poppy checks a lot of the boxes of things that FlyQuest would want in this draft.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they got Nami this late into the draft. I would... Lucian and Nami are like, synonymous, so I'm surprised they banned Braum and Rakan, which obviously is still a good pairing. Nami doesn't give him like another hard engage, obviously, so maybe they just were worried about that.
It's interesting because, Lucian and Nami have been exclusively what we're seeing like last split, but I feel like this split we've been seeing way more of Braum as that pairing and way more of people kind of stepping out and trying some of these different things. So obviously this is that most classic pairing, but it feels like maybe they were more worried about some of these kind of other options.
And with Aurora in the top lane and Nami at the support role, it means that the front line for Shopify Rebellion is Xin Zhao and Xin Zhao only. So
Xin Zhao Ultimate, you mean?
Yeah, Xin Zhao Ultimate. Once that Ultimate is down, there's no more Xin Zhao either. Like, they're going to have to make sure that they don't find themselves falling behind early with this, because otherwise, the comp is pretty much made of paper, and it would be way too easy for FlyQuest to take an early lead and then just start running over them and piling up those kills with them.
So we're heading in to game number 2. Based on the draft, if you could sit down, you'd play top lane for one of these teams, which one are you actually sitting down and playing for based on the draft?
I'm playing for FlyQuest side of the draft. I think Rumble is just quite a strong champion, even though you're into a hard lane. You just have to survive it for a little bit, and then you're going to outscale. Yeah. So I think it's up to Shopify to execute really well, and but I would be more comfortable playing on the FlyQuest side for sure.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Busio with the Summoner Spellbook. Seos instead just taking the extra power of the Aerie on that Nami, as Massu here on his Senna. Barrier for both of our AD carries in this one. Everything else is pretty standard stuff, but Palafox gets an early level 1 stun there on Quad. Just a light bit of trading, but it's 45 seconds on the clock, so not really any impact to be found from that one. Looks like it's just the basic trades at level 1. Nobody's actually trying to make any sort of a cheeky move. We don't even see like the Raptor wards being placed down just yet. As I say that, Inspired does step forward to get a little bit of vision in the Shopify jungle.
Yep, and while we wait on that, Jat is standing by with Fly's coach, Nutuk.
Thanks, guys. I have to ask you about the substitution, though. What's the strategy here with Gakgos in for Bvoy?
We had some strategy that we are gonna use, but we thought they were gonna go blue side, but they went red side. And then Gakgos, he's really good on like the meta champs, so it's a little bit of like a fearless thing, where he might take some champs away. Didn't really end up happening though. Like it kind of like this didn't really go to plan. Like a lot of stuff happened. So, but yeah, that's the thought. And he's a very good Rumble. So I am confident in him.
That's really great to hear, because you have to submit the roster and the side selection to get submitted simultaneously. So it's surprising. Some other thoughts on the draft. What needs to go well in the early game for you guys to take game 2?
We just gotta like weather the storm in early game. This game, it might even be a bit greedy, honestly, what we have here. But our comp is like very, very strong, after early game. So yeah, we just need to not get like destroyed in laning phase, basically. And after that, they won't have like much chance if they didn't destroy us in laning phase.
Awesome. Thanks for the context, Nutuk. Let's send it back to the casters.
I do find that interesting about how, because, we're talking about, what's the point of swapping in Gakgos? Like, what are they trying to go for here? And there was a different plan that didn't even end up getting to happen because of the fact that they didn't swap over on the sides like expected. So we'll be interested to see how Gakgos performs here in this game. It is only his second stage game here in the LTA.
Inspired's looking for a level 3 bot.
Okay, immediately Flash Pulverizer, the headbutt backwards on Bvoy. Wow. Wall slam to follow it up, and first blood for Inspired. FlyQuest are on the board quick in game 2.
I mean, that could not have been more perfect from the bot lane. I mean, Q Flash, headbutts him back into the center route, gives time for Inspired. Inspired doesn't even have to flash to find the angle for the wall stun. That was perfect from the bot lane of FlyQuest as well as Inspired, and just like that, the Lucian Nami lane is kind of getting cooked.
Yeah, the early game of Shopify is already like hard neutralized. They don't really have too much to play through in this early game. It just Inspired did 3 camps, so he did blue, red, and then Krugs. It felt like it was like a set play with the way that they went about this. So, you know, really good early game coming out here for FlyQuest.
Yeah, that is exactly the kind of start they want to see. Nice little quick trade there from Seos and Bvoy to knock Busio down to 200 HP. But again, you're laning with a Senna. You've still got cookies in your inventory. You're going to be all right.
So we were talking about this because Spawn and the people on pros, the coaches were talking about, you know, you got to know how Contractz is waking up because Contractz on any given day could just 1v9 a game, right? So we're checking in on him throughout the series. Game 1 looked about normal. Where do you see Contractz as far as that kind of ability to carry a game?
I think he definitely has very high potential, especially if he has playmaker champs. I think last game, he just couldn't really do anything. Like Wukong, when you have losing lanes, like there's not really too much to play for. So he does have a
jungle camps.
He does have a tempo advantage here on to Inspired. So he's going to be taking over the Gromp here. Big advantage.
He'll take over Gromp control, but mid lane control belongs to Quad on this Taliyah. Last game, we talked about how Quad and Palafox both had a lot of room for improvement in terms of if either one could step up a lot, it could make a big difference in the outcome of the game. And I think Quad was able to step up really well in game number 1. And now here in this second one, he seems to be having a good start to his laning phase as well. And congratulations to Fudge for 300 career games in North America. The 30th player all-time to achieve that, as Seos has to use his flash to escape. Inspired is once again showing up down here in the bottom lane. Yes, Contractz does have tempo in the jungle. Yes, he might have Gromp control, but Inspired is terrorizing this bot lane duo.
Now, I will say, nice gank from Inspired, but also the bot lane needs to know that that's the only place he can be on the map, right? Like, you know this guy is homeless. You know he just lost his topside camps. Where can he go, right? He can really only go down towards that bottom lane. Palafox was under his tower. The bot lane's the only one who really is vulnerable, and I think that's something that you really have to be careful about, especially when you are playing these range support bot lanes, right? You need to be able to keep pressure, but understand when you have to be able to actually respect the jungler.
Yeah, and Inspired is playing like Contractz in 2023, where he's just doing some cheesy stuff to get his team the lead in the early game, while it doesn't really matter if he's behind or not since he's playing Poppy. He just has to navigate his team through this hard early game, and then they're going to repay him back after. So doing a good job here, making it spicy and just ruining the bot lane for SR here.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, you know, when we heard from Nukeduck, like their view on the draft is that we basically can't lose if we get through the early game, right? So sacrifice your own early game a little bit to enable this Senna to be able to outscale Lucian to get into a comfortable spot, and then at a certain point, well, it's kind of just smooth sailing.
Yeah, so it's just up to FlyQuest to like tank the pressure that the Zhao will have. Like he has a level lead, has a base up on Inspired, but we'll see if that can like manifest into anything. Like right now, it's just going to be maybe a dragon, and I think the tempo is going to be matched here for the Grubs.
And while these two teams, obviously the record is not very close, only 2 teams in NA have even been able to beat FlyQuest. It's just been Cloud9 who have been taking games, and then Shopify with that one game. You know, they have really looked, at least in the stage games, kind of head and shoulders above the rest of the league. Do you kind of still perceive them as that big bad, the favorite to win the title?
Not really. It's just I haven't had a chance to play against them yet, so that'll change.
All right,
yeah.
That's what I like to hear, the confidence. Well, we do have 1 minute on the clock until the Grubs spawn, and it does look like we are going to get that first Dragon control from Contractz with the advantage that he has in the jungle. Already level 6 here, Inspired. Still a long way to go to hit that point. You can see a big chunk of EXP as he cleared out the second spawn of the blue and the Gromp up there, as this Drake will go down uncontested. Early Hex Drake for Shopify is going to feel nice, and they'll still have the opportunity to reposition for the Grubs if they like, with 30 seconds left before those spawn. We aren't seeing the super early lane swap here in game 2 that we saw in game number 1 with Massu rotating up to the top lane, I think even before 4 minutes.
Yeah, which is surprising. And also surprising is the Aurora is dominating this lane phase with a 1 CS lead here. So,
it's a powerful lead.
I don't know. This is why I don't really buy into the Aurora stock here. It's just a kind of a neutral lane, and we'll see how much like of a team fight advantage he can bring. But right now, I think it's going quite good for FlyQuest, given there's not too much pressure. Oh.
Hey, Palafox going in for the play here. Drops Tibbers, Quad down to 1/3 HP, but Seos cannot catch up in time to follow up on it. Now, the TP Ready to bring Busio into the mix. He's got to be a little bit careful. Three-man pulverized with a headbutt backwards, but it's on to Contractz, so FlyQuest won't get anything else from it besides the Xin Zhao ultimate.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a trade of flashes there. You know, Busio being able to trade his flash out onto Contractz. I always see any spellbook support trading a summoner as a super positive thing, right? So I do like the look there. He TPs in, realizes that he's kind of been pincered, and goes for the aggressive play, forces out his opponent's ult and his flash, which is going to make it much harder for them to actually challenge at the grubs. I don't think Contractz is going to want anything to do with it now.
Yeah, that was a pretty big situation since their advantage was in the jungle, and I think Contractz could have potentially R'd and then flash instead of flash R'ing. Maybe could have like insect someone into that fight and it could have been a little bit different there. Yeah. But the early game is just going quite disastrous for SR here. I don't think like they should be losing these grubs. At least it should be a contest where they can maybe get one here, but yeah, it's not going good.
I mean, it's like we talked about in draft. You have literally one frontliner, and he can't frontline unless his ultimate is available. So just a very tough situation to have to navigate for Shopify after losing that ulti there in the mid lane scuffle. Palafox almost has Tibbers ready to go here yet again. Gakgos drops the equalizer, overheats as he tries to go further towards Fudge, who goes between worlds here, finds a little bit of damage onto Gakgos, but gets slowed down by the Electro Harpoons before he can threaten something lethal.
Yeah, ends up just being a trade of ults there, but Fudge will maintain some priority. Of course, Gakgos has TP, so honestly it doesn't really matter, and with Fudge having spent the ult, it's not like he can dive him, so he can even collect the wave. Not going to be too big of an issue. So Dokle, you talked about, obviously, early game, we can all see not going well. If you're playing this game from Shopify's point of view, what are you looking at as kind of the main ways you want to try to claw back into this game?
It would have to come for like a Dragon team fight where they need a positioning advantage here. Crucially, they don't have cleanse on their AD carry, so maybe an anti-flash play onto one of their carries, Senna included. Just have to be creative with your angles and how you want to approach these objective setups, and try to pick a priority target before the fight happens, or like with the vision advantage as they're face checking stuff. That's going to be their way back into the game, because SR are going to need to stack dragons if they have any chance of winning this game.
All right, Shopify, that next dragon is going to be spawning in less than 2 minutes from now. They did, of course, remember, lose all three of the grubs to FlyQuest. Gakgos and Fudge both back up here in the top lane. The important thing to note, though, is that Gakgos did use his teleport to get back to that position. Meanwhile, Fudge kept his, decided to walk all the way back. So that could be a difference if a fight does break out down there at the Dragon. Could be an edge for Shopify to use, unless FlyQuest wants to walk Gakgos down there the long way beforehand. Quad also on the Taliyah, still has the Weaver's Wall available. We haven't really seen him try to use that yet. So I'm very curious how much value he'll be able to get out of it the first time that FlyQuest sees an angle to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think in a lot of cases, you would be like, well, you know, you really want to get out on the map and make those plays. But in this case, because they feel like they have such a scaling advantage, I think as long as you're kind of just neutralizing lanes, Quad's going to be really, really happy. You can see Inspired is actually first to complete his Sundered Sky even. So even though he kind of sacrificed a little himself, of course, he did get that kill. And is going to be in a pretty strong spot already on the Poppy. Shiv is done. Archangels is done. Those one-item power spikes are coming through. It is a slight gold lead for Shopify, but when you're taking into consideration the comps, things are going to be tough. So, you know, if you're on the FlyQuest side and you're playing from this spot, would you prefer to fight at this next dragon, or would you rather look towards a potential third dragon to kind of wait for some more scaling?
I think it kind of depends on how the vibe is. If it looks fightable, if you have enough vision on that side, then you can definitely go for it, because a Poppy ult could kick maybe 1 or 2 people out if you land a really good one, and then a Taliyah wall could separate the fight where you have a number advantage on one side. So it's definitely, they have options. They're not forced to contest it by any means, but if it does look fightable and the opportunity is there, they could sneak away one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Poppy Taliyah is also just such a strong team fighting combo. You know, you talked about the ability to ult people out on Poppy, but also just charging them into the rocks is so strong.
Well, hold on now. Bvoy having to flash away as Busio and Massu go in for some quick trading here. Busio does lose a lot of his HP. He casts his heal as well, but he still has Unbreakable Will ready to go. That is both summoner spells defensively from Bvoy alongside the heal and the ultimate from Seos. Shopify Rebellion going to go ahead, start up this second Drake here. Contractz leading a charge on that one, but Quad is on the approach from the side. Shopify are going to have to be careful. Busio still looking to see if there's an angle for anything. Palafox has made his way over to the fight now as Quad skateboards around the back side of the pit. Culling dropped by Bvoy. Inspired's going to block up most of that, so the Busio still has enough health to possibly participate with. Shopify Rebellion have the Drake pretty low, and they will be able to secure that Chemtech Drake. Contractz wants to jump in and find a kill. Inspired at 100 HP, they're going to kill him off. Contractz continuing to chase after Quad. Lee needs a little bit more damage. Not quite going to find it. Now they're just going to take their exit. They'll take the kill. They'll take the Drake. Honestly, good sequence there for Shopify.
Yeah, it works out really well for Shopify. I guess it was just FlyQuest a little bit nervous to commit because Fudge has TP advantage on top side, so they didn't want to fully go in for it. But I kind of was surprised with how they ended up playing it. Like, they were staying around for so long, but if you're not going to commit to it, it's always better to just push out the waves and play for something else. And it felt like they kind of got trapped in that in-between situation where they'd force summoners, they'd force an ulti, and felt like, hey, maybe we can contest anyway, but didn't want to fully commit. So they kind of just end up staying around, giving over the dragon without a contest and giving over a kill.
Yeah, they kind of did the worst of both worlds, as you're saying, right? It's, you know, it just trade between one or the other. Oh, Fudge. Oh, the barrier comes out, but it could. Oh my God.
He actually survived it. Yeah, if he doesn't barrier that, he dies to that. Leandry's 100%, 15 HP. Massu nearly dropped, but stays alive somehow. And there's no range on Shopify to try to snipe him down from this position. That is one thing about the composition of Shopify. These damage dealers are not long range. Lucian's a short range AD carry. Annie and Aurora, not particularly long range mages. If this Senna gets to the point where he has 120, 140 stacks, I don't know how anybody's supposed to reach him, especially not through an Alistar or a Poppy.
Yeah, and I mean, when like Locket and these sorts of extra tools come through to kind of help to absorb that, it's going to be a lot more difficult as well. He did pick up another dagger, so I am assuming that he's just going to be going into a rapid fire second. I wouldn't have been surprised to see just like Black Cleaver second for a little bit more HP against this kind of an upfront burst team, but clearly feeling confident that he's going to be able to stay safe regardless.
Yeah, and to talk about Shopify side, I think they're doing a good job of, even though they are short range, they are contesting these objectives, which will force FlyQuest to, you know, come and fight them, or they're just going to take the objective. So Shopify are doing what they need to do if they were to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a slight gold lead. They do have that 2 dragon advantage. And I always feel like in games like this, where you are getting outscaled, where you have the early dragons, the 3rd dragon becomes the pivotal moment of the game, where, you know, if FlyQuest can take 1 dragon and kind of stall it out, you often hit that benchmark where now you have kind of outscaled your opponents, a couple items come through. But if you can get that 3rd dragon, all of a sudden, it can get really difficult. You know, you're putting so much pressure on your opponents to come to you and fight before they're ready.
Quad could be in a little bit of danger down here, though. Wind becomes lightning. Nice sidestep there, Quad. Avoiding that one is the difference between life and death, especially since his flash still not off of cooldown from the previous usage. But it does mean with Contractz on the bottom half of the map, FlyQuest feel empowered to start the Rift Herald on the top side river. Seos and Bvoy still in that position here in mid lane, wanting to get the wave shoved out. Herald's going to go ahead, lose patience, and reset, as FlyQuest don't want to overcommit to this just yet.
Yeah, and they didn't have mid lane prio. That's the main reason, is Massu's fully shoved in. If he moved, he would be giving up this whole wave and potentially even a lot of tower damage. So even though they make this play on bot side, the mid lane prio that this Lucian has given them allows them to still contest and maybe even get this Herald. So that's some of the value that you can see pros really place on this Lucian Nami.
Exactly. That's what you were talking about even back in the draft. Yeah, you like having Lucian's powerful, quick trading potential during the laning phase, but the way that you utilize him in game, Massu taken out by Fudge. Nicely done there to find the kill on the enemy AD carry. And now at the Senna out of the way, hold on, Palafox falls. Inspired gets one back in the top lane right after. So it'll be a 4 versus 4 here for the Herald. If FlyQuest wants to fight it, they are making their way down here, but the Herald is down to 5k. Fudge looking for a pincer angle potentially as Quad fires off the Weaver's wall. Cuts Contractz off from the rest of the team, but he's far enough away from FlyQuest. He's still feeling safe. The Herald is going to reset its patience here yet again, as Massu is just about to respawn, make his way back out onto the map. Considering he's got that global ulti, Shopify Rebellion don't want to overextend themselves now, as they still are finding angles for plays.
Yeah, we didn't get to see how he lost his flash just prior to this, so I'm not sure exactly what happened, if that he had to flash a bubble or something like that. But I didn't actually see, you know, where he lost his flash. But once his flash was down, easy setup. You know, Fudge comes in from behind, they let the culling go, and they do get that kill. And then it's just an angle on top side to look for a counterplay.
I don't know what Palafox is doing. He's contesting the lane when his team is making a play on mid with 4. So, you know, I mean, I'm a caster. I could be wrong. You know, I might not know what I'm talking about if Palafox hears this, but I don't think that was the right play there.
Well, he did end up going down, so does get punished for it, but at the very least didn't waste flash or anything like that.
Yeah.
And Massu getting chunked out pretty heavily here in mid lane. It is 2-item power spike now. Essence Reaver plus that rapid fire is done. This is how he lost his flash earlier, so he was trying to move over, I guess, to support a herald play and did get caught in transition.
You know, we have been talking a lot about outscaling here for FlyQuest, but at the same time, it does come down to execution as well. Like, I think there's a factor where you do outscale, and it also comes down to execution.
Ooh, Busio forced to use Unbreakable Will there under the threat of the culling from Bvoy. So that's another major tool that FlyQuest now don't have. And the Rift Herald is still alive on the map. And that critical third Drake that we're talking about, Shopify is currently taking it uncontested.
Another big chunk here by Bvoy on it. And this is what I mean. I think it will come down to execution, even though FlyQuest might have a slight scaling advantage. The better player, or the better team fighting team, will usually end up on top.
Okay, FlyQuest have secured themselves the Herald. The Palafox is making his way in, finds the Tibbers, but it's only onto Inspired. The Poppy charging back towards Palafox afterwards, wants to get a little bit of extra distance away from the rest of Shopify Rebellion since Palafox had already used his spell rotation, and that does provide Inspired with an escape route. So that third Drake, sole point secured for the side of Shopify in trade for the Rift Herald, going FlyQuest's way. They want Massu again. They are putting a target on his back, but he puts one on their front. Nice fire back coming out from the Senna. It's a 1-for-1 trade overall, but the Feat of Warfare critically goes over to FlyQuest.
Yeah, pretty good read there from FlyQuest. Massu has been getting attacked non-stop, right? We have been seeing Busio move around the map, as he very often does. And Massu, I think one of his strengths is that he's hard to punish in the 1v2 situations where he's often left. This time they read the play. Busio is there, as well as Quad, to come in and help get that kill back.
Now FlyQuest just back to picking up the resources here in their jungle as those blue buffs are respawning for both sides. Honestly, solid first 20 minutes here from Shopify Rebellion. They've had that very modest gold lead the entire time of somewhere between a couple hundred up to almost 1,000. They've got soul point. They just secured themselves the feats and the empowered boots. Now, as long as they don't go near Otacon, I do think they've got a pretty solid shot.
Yeah, definitely stay away from that. I think Shopify should have been fine giving the Herald for the third dragon. I think it was a bit weird for Palafox to TP after the dragon or the Herald was conceded. I mean, but I think they're in a really good spot. I think everyone's going to try to save flashes here and just be as strong as possible for this next upcoming soul fight.
Yeah.
And I do expect us to be in a little bit of a lull period now.
Especially since Otacon is down there in the bottom side river. If you end up baiting FlyQuest in and you get a big team fight win and you take the Dragon Soul and then Otacon's right there and you get that too, all of a sudden this game goes from feeling close to feeling totally doomed for FlyQuest.
Yeah,
so.
we had one yesterday where we got the 3 objectives all in succession. We got Dragon, walked to Baron, and then walked to Otacon after. I've never had that happen.
Just like Merry Christmas on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah.
We're calling again, used by Bvoy, keeping the pressure on here in the mid lane. That tier 1 turret still standing, but not with a whole lot of HP, about 1/3 remaining on it. And Shopify want to keep the pressure on. 2.5 minutes until the Drake Soul spawns. As we check in on the itemization here, we do see the second fully completed item done there for Bvoy with the rapid fire cannon. You can see on the other side, Seraph's Embrace fully evolved alongside the Rylai's for Quad on the Taliyah. But everybody else still working towards getting those second full item completions online. And I feel like that could be a big difference for this upcoming fight if one side has everybody hitting those second item completions and the other doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about how you think Rumble is the best top laner right now. This is the Rumble record in LTA North this split. Are you surprised that it is that dominant?
I'm surprised Rumble hasn't been nerfed enough. That's what I'm surprised about.
Last nerf not enough?
It's not. It's really not. I don't think anything really has
What if you're me and you're
much.
bad at Rumble, think about the little folk.
That's my problem. I don't.
That's a low elo problem.
Yeah.
He clears the elo for that problem.
But yeah, I mean, 14-2 is, it's a very, very high win rate.
Pretty good.
And this includes, not only the good teams playing it too. It includes everyone, right?
Yeah, that's across the league.
Yeah,
it's been played 16 times and it won 14 of those.
Yeah, I think the champs balance.
2 losses, 1 from Impact and 1 from Castle.
Yeah, that's, what, 88% win rate on the champ? That feels a little strong.
Quick map.
That feels a little high, maybe.
I see Doklan there, 2-0.
Okay,
yeah. Boosting that win rate.
You're doing your job.
Yeah.
Contribute to the cause. Shopify Rebellion, their cause is to earn this Dragon Soul, and it's less than 60 seconds away. Fudge critically finding his Bloodletter's curse here with that 45-second timer now to go. Malignance also completed for Palafox, so he's going to have the double burn. There's those 2-item power spikes that I was talking about being so important, but Gakgos also has the Shadow Flame. Koenig Rookern also there for Inspired. FlyQuest are completing their second-item power spikes too. Rapid Fire Cannon done for Senna. So it looks like both teams are locking in for this Dragon Soul.
And Gakgos going a very glass cannon build, so I'd be, if I'm on Shopify side, I would be like, let's focus this guy, because he has no defense at all. If any gets a flash play on him, then that's all that gold lead completely down the drain. So controls of the side lanes will be really important. Whoever has vision setup is going to be really favored. Right now, Shopify have the control, and they have rapid fire Lucian, so contesting these small pockets of vision, he has a range advantage, so it's going to be really beneficial.
And as much as we've talked about scaling, Massu doesn't even have that many stacks on Senna, so it's not like they've hit some critical break point here where he's just going to be able to outrange everyone. You can see Palafox is trying to look for an angle, but Busio has been marking him.
Okay, quad fires the Weaver's Wall, forces Shopify all the way back, but the wall is going to collapse before the Dragon can be fully secured. So Contractz steps up, he's got the rest of the Rebellion right behind him. Busio takes Blast Cone over the wall as the Equalizer is summoned down, but again, not to great effect.
Nothing.
It's just stalling. FlyQuest still trying to fight this as Busio pops the Unbreakable Will. Dawning Shadow over the top. Lots of damage onto Palafox, and he's going to drop as Gakgos creates a little bit of extra space. Inspired under pressure. He's got to try to stay alive. The Drake is going to be claimed as Busio falls. It's a 1-for-1 trade overall, but FlyQuest critically stopped the soul.
Yeah, and they're able to even get a charge down on that tier 2 in bot. Palafox got taken out before he could really do much of anything. He dropped Tibbers before he died, but it was only on Inspired. Wasn't very effective there. And Shopify really punished, with that initial engage onto Palafox, shut him down big time.
And these type of fights is why FlyQuest remain undefeated. It's like pressures against the wall. They have to win this fight, or the game's gonna be really hard. And they just clutch up in these team fights at the right time, right when it needs to happen.
So talk us through this fight. What do you think went right for FlyQuest?
I think they just got on the Any. Like, Any was not able to get the damage off in this fight, crucially, and then he pretty much died, only got the ult off, and I think it's really bad positioning from Christian. I think he should be hiding in the pink ward bush and then try to make a flank play, get a flash on one of their backline with the carries, especially when they don't have cleanse. So I think he's gonna, not be happy with how that team fight went, and he's gonna try to adapt for the next team fight here.
I mean, credit to Busio and Inspired. It's Busio finding him with the flash combo. Inspired flash stuns him against the wall. They lock him up, and they're able to burst him down. And to talk more about Busio and Inspired, there has been a lot of conversation about, Player of the Year coming up in the LTA, and a lot of people believe that these two are potentially the best two players in the league, or that they have the potential to win this award. Talk me through your thoughts on Busio and Inspired, and who you would be voting for Player of the Year.
I think it for sure is between these two, and it kind of depends on what you're kind of basing it off of. If it's the leadership qualities that you're attributing more, I think Inspired gets it clearly, and I think if like mechanically and like the creative angles, I think Busio is, right up there with the best in terms of how he finds great angles playing around vision. So I think both of them do their job at a really high level, and both are deserving of the award.
Do you think there's something to, all these kind of like role swap players to support who are finding a lot of success there? Obviously, Core JJ famously did it. Afromu even way back in the day. Busio was a mid laner who went to support. Like, there's been a lot of examples of great players who started in one role, swapped to support, and people seem to be like, oh yeah, they have really good mechanics, these role swap supports.
I think it's just more of game knowledge. I think you're just more aware of how other roles function, and it's a big team fight here.
Bvoy in a little bit of danger, popped both summoner spells to get away from the Reaver's Wall. Now fires the culling back at quad and forces a flash from him in return. Shopify Rebellion grouping up to defend their AD carry. FlyQuest knocking both summoners off of Bvoy is pretty big, though, to try and curb that aggression he's been playing with the entire game. We're always seeing him step up. We're always seeing him go for poke. Now we're seeing the Otacon get started as Inspired chases after Palafox. Massu's coming in to try to provide a little bit of extra damage, but He's not going to get there in time. The Otacon already down to half HP. FlyQuest is coming in. They want to stop this before Shopify can complete the objective. Gakgos drops down the ulti with a Dawning Shadow flying through, but Gakgos is going to be killed off here immediately. Quad looking for Fudge and Contractz, who are both very, very low. Busio trying to control Seos and Bvoy. Quad's taken down by Contractz almost, but Busio swoops in to save him as Bvoy also falls. Quad finds one more rock, and Shopify Rebellion have collapsed. They make the mistake of going to the Otacon, and it proves fatal. FlyQuest pick up a 4 for 1.
Yeah, you called it out, but that level up from Quad even saving him on the kill. He would have burned down. It was incredibly close. They do make the call to collapse on Gakgos, but he did a great job with the equalizer here, placed it really, really well. So everyone from Shopify is chasing through it, just getting roasted up. Yes, you burst them down, but then the sustain here from Zhao, showing why it is such a popular pick with the Sundered Sky. Goes back in, sustaining for such a long time here onto Quad, but then watch as Fudge comes back in, flashes in, hits the combo, but the level up to 16, saving Quad. FlyQuest just mopping up Shopify, and that may be the straw that broke the camel's back.
And even here at the very end, Inspired using Tibbers as a tackle target to close the distance to Palafox to hit him in the back of the head with the shield for that final hit. The Shopify lead has been shut down. That 200, 300, 400 gold lead they've had for what feels like the last 10 or 15 minutes is now a 2,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, who managed to also tie up the flower count, empower the petals that they've collected through taking the Otacon. That was a major blunder from Shopify Rebellion.
And I mean, now you want to talk about scaling. You're seeing the Infinity Edge come in. You're seeing 3 items in for Taliyah. 3 items are in for the Poppy as well. FlyQuest is online.
Yeah, and one thing that really baffles me is, like, why did Shopify decide to do that? Because they had a flash advantage on Taliyah off that mid play, right? And Annie had flash for, if she saved it for the next, this dragon that's coming up right now. If they just played normal and got position and got control on the dragon, they'd be in a very advantageous position with flash advantage, where Annie could just find someone on the back line with their flash. So really questionable decisions here. I don't know, maybe they feel pressured to progress the game, but I think... But yeah, that's definitely going to be the game loser here if they FlyQuest do win it from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, Otacon's so interesting because it's dangerous enough that you can easily throw if you go there, but it's easy enough to take that people feel like they can start it even when it's possible to contest.
Ooh, nice flash from Inspired to find the angle on Palafox. The extra move speed from Deadman's Plate, setting him up to guarantee the engage. That's enemy mid laner down for 40 seconds. That's flash forced out of the Zhao now as well. Stun into the wall again, this time on Contractz, as FlyQuest are looking for even more, but Inspired's got to back away. Contractz is tanky enough to survive. Bvoy wants to go after Gakgos, hits him with most of a culling, but not enough to threaten lethal damage. So FlyQuest will take the 1-for-0 trade across the map. The thing that Shopify get back is at least they secure the tier 1 turret in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they do get that tier 1 tower, and it was quite a lot of resources committed to that top side trying to take down Contractz, but Zhao extremely tough to actually knock down and is able to survive in that moment. FlyQuest, though, finding another pick on Palafox, and that has kind of felt like a lot of the story of the game is them being able to catch Palafox in these positions, you know, burst him down, be able to kind of preempt the play, so he's never actually finding access to those backline targets. And FlyQuest are really good at punishing any sort of mistakes, any sort of mispositioning, and Palafox definitely has been getting preyed on a bit this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely making it easy for them. I will say that. But I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think Christian is having the best game. You know, as a caster, I might be wrong about that. Again. But
I am not associated with these comments. As someone who has cast more than one game.
yeah.
Are you saying that as a caster, Azael?
No, I'm saying that as a person.
Yeah.
Oh man, no. I mean, it's tough, right? You got to walk the line between talking about, you know, how you feel about the game and not, you know, going too far with it. But yeah, no, he's definitely not having his best game, and I'm sure that he would agree with that. Now the question now is, can they problem solve their way out of this? Because otherwise, you're down 2-0 against FlyQuest, and you have to reverse sweep, which is an incredibly difficult situation because they've kind of thrown out 2 different drafts. You know, game 1 was like, all right, we're just going to play safe and we're going to scale and we're going to try to team fight you. Game 2 is like, all right, we're going to go really aggressive and we're going to kind of, you know, throw everything out there and try to snowball the game. And now a couple fights have gone the way of FlyQuest, and you know, the clock seems like it may have struck midnight.
Well, they do still have Soul Point in their back pocket, right? If they can find one of these Dragon Spawn timers where they're the ones getting a pick right beforehand, that could be the opportunity they need. But now it's Fudge in danger as Inspired and Quad are working together to look to take him down, and they won't even need the help from Gakgos to do it. Inspired with this Deadman's, it's so easy for the Poppy to wrap around and get these angles that he needs. And then Quad's 4-0 and 2 on the Taliyah, the perfect follow-up there to provide the damage and guarantee that these plays get made. Now with Fudge dead for the next 35 seconds, FlyQuest are heading towards the top side river for control over the Baron pit.
And Quad, on contrast, his Taliyah games recently has been doing really well. Hasn't died yet, just following up the play every time. So he's been playing really well in this series so far.
Yeah, I agree. Both games, I think he did a really good job. You know, was able to put a lot of pressure on. And this is, of course, warded. They see that they are on the Baron.
Okay, calling there towards Quad, but Busio is going to block most of it. Busio's already down. Beautiful pick from Shopify Rebellion. That could have been such a dangerous situation, but they play it wonderfully. Bvoy's damage, the Infinity Edge on this Lucian, providing so much pressure, forcing Quad to step further back. Gakgos with a defensive equalizer. Inspired is way behind enemy lines, and he should be taken down now as well. Shut down. All that money
That's
now in
Baron.
Bvoy's pocket. That's the enemy jungler dead for 50 seconds. Baron's right there.
I mean, how did the Inspired even get in that position? I'm kind of confused as to how he ended up over on that side. I guess just got cut off, didn't have flash to get out. And Busio, underestimating the damage coming in, didn't want to pop his ult, you know, was just trying to kind of tank that up for his team. Gets exploded, and just like that, Shopify get the Baron.
And there is a small frame where Alistar isn't ulted. Like, it takes him a little bit to cast the ult, and he just got bursted within that time frame. So I'm sure he was caught off guard by that. I think everyone is. And yeah, just like that, the game has completely turned here for Shopify.
Yeah, and this is Inspired how he got caught out. So, you know, he was trying to kind of walk down, but didn't feel like he had the angle. So ends up just trying to run back around. And at this point, realizes, all right, I'm going to get knocked down if I try to just walk out. So charges back in, trying to see if he can find a way out. Had no flash. So great pick. And now Shopify have another lease on life. They have a real shot here to try to play for Soul with that Baron buff working in their favor.
Exactly. The timing on this is fantastic for Shopify Rebellion. Bvoy is nearly full build now, too. He has the BF sword in the final slot of the inventory. This guy is primed for success. Lord Dominic's regards fully completed here as well for the extra armor penetration for anybody on the front line. FlyQuest are first to the bot side river, though. They have control over the area for now. Shopify still going to have to approach. Gakgos needs to get away from this. The culling from Bvoy forcing out the stasis immediately, and Gakgos is going to drop. Bvoy goes on a killing spree, and now FlyQuest are staring down the barrel of a 4v5. Shopify still approaching further, and Bvoy, 2 bullets, and it's 2/3 of Massu's health. This Lucian is not messing around.
I don't think Lucian is going to get outscaled this game. What is that damage? And yeah, Shopify are going to pick up Soul here with a nice pick onto Gakgos. I thought that ward was giving enough information to FlyQuest, or maybe they can make a nice play, but it wasn't enough. And Shopify look completely in control of the game now.
Yeah, I mean, Gakgos gets picked off. Hasn't been having the biggest impact, I think, you know, you have to say. Obviously, a lot of pressure subbing in a moment like this, but does get picked off, and that means FlyQuest decide, you know what, we're not going to fight for it. It was a great play by Bvoy. He is missing his flash, so we'll see if FlyQuest can then, with the respawn from Gakgos, punish that missing flash on Bvoy, because he is clearly priority #1, and it's not even close. Like, Bvoy right now is kind of 1v9. This guy is putting so much pressure on, and is really the reason that they got the Baron with that big pick onto Busio. He's the reason that they get the Soul with that pick onto Gakgos, and he's kind of just taking over, and now even has the GA off of that kill, so now you have to kill him twice.
And don't forget, this is the same game where Inspired was putting that attention towards bottom lane early, wanting to pressure this Lucian and Nami, wanting to stop them from being able to control the game, but it did not matter. Bvoy was still winning individually in that lane. After the help for the FlyQuest side, he was having great presence in mid lane the entire mid game, constantly keeping the pressure on, chunking out Quad, chunking out Massu, and now he's set up to potentially be able to carry this game and tie up this series for Shopify. But it's not over until the Nexus explodes. Shopify still have to close this out with their Dragon Soul, with their 2,000 gold lead. Baron, 3 minutes from now, and we'll see if FlyQuest can find a way to turn this back around. A couple of good picks, good plays from Shopify have really knocked the wheels off the car for them here.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's just going to be see if Shopify can try to get some of these outer tier 2s gone, and then just another waiting game here for the Baron. Oh, Fudge in trouble. Not gonna be able to get away with the ult here, so that's risky. That's the second time he almost got caught there, so gotta keep his eye out for Inspired.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, even though Massu is definitely not having a fast stacking game by any means, it's almost a 40-minute game, which means you're going to get a lot of stacks, right? And he's closing in on 100 stacks, which always to me feels like this breakpoint where all of a sudden you're just getting poked from so far away that it's very, very difficult to respond. You know, an auto Q starts hurting a ton, especially, you know, with that rapid fire you can do from so far away.
I will say they do have a Nami, so they can nullify most of that poke. And I'm not sure what the average is in like a 35+ minute game for Senna Souls, but
25 minutes is like 70-ish, 75-ish is the average in pro play. So this is definitely quite slow for pro play, especially because usually it accelerates as you're kind of fighting more in the later stages of the game.
And I mean, a huge part of that, right, is what I was talking about with Bvoy and his presence in the mid lane after, you know, the laning phase was over, constantly chunking out Massu, making it so dangerous for him to sit underneath the turret and try to farm.
And I'll also say, to me, like, I love playing Senna. It's such a big difference when you're playing against a melee support versus a range support. It's really hard to soul stack in lane against these double ranged lanes because you just get slammed in a lot of the trades. So it does slow down your acceleration a lot.
Okay, Fudge once again in trouble, but the low cooldown on that ulti gets him right back out of it.
Movement speed right there as well.
Wow. Yep, he is just so fast. I mean, if you don't get that initial instant pick, there's just no way you're going to be able to chase him down.
Fudge playing the line there well where, you know, he wants some farm and also wants to be in the safe spot, so good job by him to avoid getting picked again.
And he has a death cap completed. I mean, Fudge has been having a very quiet game. He's playing through the side lanes. You know, he's not doing a lot of flashy stuff, but you do hit a certain point in the game on Aurora when you have this much AP, and you look over at someone like Massu who has no resistances. You can, if you hit that full combo, sometimes just one-shot a carry, and that is something that is always going to be a difference maker in these fights.
All right, Shopify. What is the name of the game? 25 seconds on the clock until Baron spawns. Elder Dragon will be spawning in 2 minutes, and that is always such a point of contention.
Yeah, if we could toggle the vision here to see what FlyQuest see, it's completely dark here. So it's going to be a while for... I'm not sure how they're going to contest this vision here. They're going to try to go down mid and make them show. So, but it's completely dark, and
Fudge goes in for an early ulti, but he doesn't get a lot of value out of it. Does get a little bit of a chunk on Busio there at the back end of things. Palafox waiting inside the brush. Massu just nearly loses his entire life to the fast combo there from Bvoy. As now, though, that Lucian being forced to flash away thanks to the Unraveled Earth from Quad, that could be a big deal in this upcoming fight.
Yeah, that really can be a big deal.
Yeah, he was feeling himself there. He lost his flash there. And it's still dark for FlyQuest Inspired. Just going to face check in, and yeah, it looks really tricky because how are they going to walk in?
Okay, Inspired critically not getting caught in that bubble, though, from Seos as he approached. Fudge in some danger, does not have the Between Worlds ready to go.
That's a Cloud Soul diff, feels like, again, doesn't have to use his flash. He's just a little bit too fast, just kind of outran that Senna route here. And it's obviously very difficult to approach when you don't have the vision, but I think FlyQuest doing a good job, you know, keeping Shopify around here. And Bvoy without flash now has to be a lot more careful with that flash available on Busio. There's always the threat of if you dash forward, you might just get flash comboed.
Inspired also wrapping around, because remember, if Inspired is on top of Bvoy, he can't even dash away, right? Flash will still work through Steadfast Presence, but the pursuit will not. Palafox on the side, they found Quad, but they don't kill him off just yet. The Seekers is enough to keep Quad alive for now, but immediately as he tries to retreat, Shopify Rebellion is waiting on a mid laner, is going to be traded 1-for-1. Shopify still looking for a little bit more. Bvoy wants to create some distance as Busio gets killed by Tibbers. Bvoy chasing after Massu, but he can't quite kill him off. It's a 2-for-1 for Shopify Rebellion.
That is a big fight there for Shopify. They do get a couple kills here, but at the end of the day, there's no major objective that they're confident to actually go for. They're going down towards this Elder right now, and we'll see if it's going to be able to be contested at all. Inspired is still up and available. It does have his flash, but going to get picked.
Yeah, immediately, as soon as he approaches the area, he's forced to flash back away, and it's probably not even going to save him, except it does. 200 HP left. He barely gets away back to Massu, but now that means with the enemy jungler jungler at death's door. Shopify Rebellion have total control over the bottom side river. Bvoy does an absolute ton of damage, and the Elder Dragon is already half dead.
I mean, it should be Elder and Baron. Massu and Gakgos are coming over, but I mean, this is desperation hours.
Yep, that dragon still dropping low as the culling took half of the HP from Gakgos. Inspired back out on the map, trying to move over here, but FlyQuest knows they can't contest this. They'll take their red buff because that's all they're going to get. It's Elder Dragon, Dragon Soul, and a 4,000 gold lead for Shopify Rebellion.
And if you thought that Lucian was scary before, he's got Elder now, so 2 autos, and Massu might just get one shot. Yeah, actually one shot. So it's scary here now. I think Shopify will just look for any fight that they can take, because I think with Elder, it just makes it super easy. You know, just fight, and you're bound to win.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest just want to try to delay, but then when they get the Baron, all of a sudden you can't delay anymore, right? Because then they're going to be at your base. I don't think there's any way they're going to contest this. It's just turtle up in the base, hope you can somehow weather the storm here, delay the Elder as much as possible. You can't fight for a minute 50, so Quad's going to go down towards that bottom lane. He ulted down there just to get the waves pushing, and they're trying to shove out these waves as much as they possibly can because they know every wave that you can delay is another one that you're staying alive.
Yeah, but I mean, SR will most likely just plan one lane because they feel like they will just end the game with one team fight now. So they don't really care about 2 lanes or anything like that. Just fight them. They have to respond to you, and Shopify looking to put it.
Quad's still pushing.
Yeah. Quad's still going, but it's 2 Guardian Angels and Elder Dragon on everybody on Shopify Rebellion. It is so difficult to try to fight these guys, and they're immediately just going to bulldoze through the tier 3 turret in the top lane, the inhibitor right after.
I'm keeping my eyes on Palafox here. He does have flash, so looking for a big engage here out of him.
All right, Shopify Rebellion looking for their game-ending push. Palafox with a flash engage, and Gakgos is already down. Now they turn their attention to the rest of FlyQuest. The first Nexus turret falls. Shopify Rebellion so close to ending this second game. Contractz taken low, but he stays alive with the ulti here for now. Bvoy looking for a couple more kills, and he's just blasting everybody straight to hell. Bvoy and Shopify Rebellion will ace FlyQuest to the very end. A triple kill for the Lucian. 15-11 in a 44-minute game. Shopify Rebellion ties it up.
What an insane game from Bvoy. Like, that was a monster 1v9 performance on that Lucian. Honestly, crazy stuff. Finds the pick that gets them the earlier Baron, finds the pick that gets them the Soul, finds the picks non-stop throughout this game. Bvoy felt like he was just on another level.
Yeah, and he was ganked early game 2, died level, what was it, 2, and he's still putting up this level of performance. His Lucian is very good.
It was some crazy stuff from Bvoy and Shopify. Lounge, how are we feeling about a tied series?
Woo! Feeling good.
We're feeling great.
Feeling good about it, yeah.
His favorite